ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, the Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race being brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Purolator, the first name in filters for Pure Oil now and Pure Oil later. It's Purolator. From the 5/8-mile North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, today NASCAR Modified racing the Lowe's 150. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Ned Jarrett. Winston Cup cars here tomorrow. The Modifieds are about 2 seconds a lap faster. It's also a very competitive type of racing. The past 7 races we've had here at North Wilkesboro in Modifieds, we have seen 7 different winners. And some Winston Cup guys have come along from this division, the NASCAR Modifieds, Ned.
Yes, they have. Harry Gant, of course, got his start in modified racing and late model sportsman, and so did Donnie and Bobby Allison, Ken and Ron Bichard, Jeff and Brett Bodine, just to name a few of those that have gone on to bigger and better things after having considerable experience in modified racing. And there are a number of drivers in this field today who are looking to go on to Winston Cup racing someday, and one of those is nearby where Larry Newberry is.
Well, Ned, that pole setter that eventually plans on a fendered career is Dave Resendez. He has come down from the north. He is the track record holder here at this racetrack, but this is the first time he's ever been on the pole here because that track record came during the second day of qualifying. He is flanked on his right by Randy Morrison. Now, Randy is a very interesting story, just a third-year driver. This is only his 13th modified race ever. He surprised a lot of people by qualifying up here. Ironically, this is not his best lap ever here at this racetrack. And you know, it's been so competitive the last 7 races, but you know what? Neither of these people have ever won here at North Wilkes. Jerry?
Well, Larry, one driver that has won here at North Wilkesboro, in fact, he won here 2 weeks ago, 41-year-old Billy Middleton in the Chevrolet Cavalier. Now, Middleton will be starting back in 9th spot. A little bit different strategy. He qualified on hard tires. He is not planning, now not planning, we say, on making a tire change here at North Wilkesboro. It's worked for him before. It worked a couple of weeks ago, and just maybe starting back in 9th on hard tires, everyone else on soft tires, he may be able to go the distance. But the man who may be the spoiler, making his first ever trip to this 5/8-mile racetrack, two-time a defending national modified champion, Jungle Jim Spencer, 31 years of age, from Berwick, Pennsylvania, in this car, a Buick Skyhawk, that he's won over 60 feature events in the past 3 years. Should be interesting, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Jerry. The lightning fast NASCAR Modifieds are set to go for 150 laps in the Lowe's 150. And we'll be back with the starting lineup in just a moment for today's race.
CarQuest Auto Parts stores salute the professional mechanic. He does a job once, does it right. He makes a promise on service.
We have 30 cars that are moving off the starting grid to take about 3 warm-up laps before the start of this event. And let's take a look now at the starting lineup. On the pole, qualifying at 125.112 miles an hour, Dave Resendez in car 79. To his outside, Randy Morrison in car number 19. Row number 2, it's Jay Hedgecock in car number 41 and Satch Worley in 07. Then it's Junior Miller in the 69 car, flanked by Rod Spalding in number 11. Going to row number 4, Johnny Bryant in car number 45 and Jimmy Spencer in 24. Starting 9th will be Billy Middleton in 46 and Gary Myers in car number 4. In the 6th row, Steve Jarvis in 88 and Robert Jeffries in 75. In the 7th row, Frank Fleming in number 40 and Lee Sherwood in 05. 00, Roger Hill and 15, Bobby Hutchins begin from row number 8. In the 9th row, Ralph Brinkley in car number 9 and Johnny Johnson in 99. In the 10th row, Al Hill in 70 and Don Smith in 31. In row number 11, it's Randy Butler in number 5 and John Redding in 47. And Billy Agee in 33 and Johnny Gregory in 28 begin from row number 12. Going to row number 13, Melvin Swisher in 53 and Buddy Black in 95. The 14th row, Tim Dwiggins in 17 and Lanny Wilkins in number 7. And in the 15th row, car number 96, driven by Terry King, and 94, Shannon McLamory. So those are your starters, and they're on the backstretch getting ready for the green flag here in just a moment.
Bob, these cars run awfully fast down the straightaways, and of course, as light as they are, they get through the turns very fast too. They have wide tires on them, wider than we see on Winston Cup competition. Here's Frank Fleming, the car number 40. He'll certainly be one of the favorites in this race, but they can't run quite as close together as the full fendered cars in the Busch Grand National and the Winston Cup Series, because these tires are sticking out where if they run up over the top of each other, it can cause a lot of problems.
Frank Fleming was the winner here in the fall race in 1987. Now, these cars do have a gear rule which restricts the speed of them, and so if it weren't for that, they would be going even faster on this 5/8 mile racetrack. The drivers are telling us it's the fastest track that they compete on during the course of a year. The speed for the pole position was 125.112 miles an hour, and that's considerably faster than the Winston Cup cars.
Well, the Winston Cup cars qualified at just over 116 miles an hour, so it does compute to almost a couple of seconds around the racetrack.
Number 75 car being driven by Robert Jeffries of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He's lined up right beside Frank Fleming.
The field was originally scheduled to be just for 24 cars, but they had an overflow of cars here and wanted to give everyone a chance to get in it, so they expanded the field to 30 cars.
And the lights on top of the pace car are out. It dives into the pit area, and the Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race is about to begin. Leading him down is Dave Resendiz, and the green flag is out.
Well, Resendiz got himself a good jump so he can pick the part of the track he wanted to race on going into turn 1.
Down the backstretch, we have Morrison at number 19 in second position, and a spin in turn number 2, and it's Jimmy Spencer. So one of the early favorites of this race is sitting against the retaining wall in turn number 2, and the number 95 car of Buddy Black also was involved in the spin. He, however, has been able to keep going. So here is a real development in the first lap of the race.
And certainly Jimmy Spencer, as Jerry Punch pointed out, would be one of the favorites. He's a two-time modified national champion. He felt good going into this race about his chances of winning. Let's see what happened as he went into the turn.
Field moving through. We're waiting to see which car. There you can see Spencer.
And it looks like something must have broken on the car, Bob, because he was running all alone there. A car was not within a car length of him, and all of a sudden the car just veered into the wall.
Well, we also hear that he had some problems on the pace lap, so obviously something did break on that car, causing the car to shoot to the right and into the retaining wall. You know, Jimmy Spencer is also running Grand National cars this year with 2 third-place finishes as his best. And certainly he was a threat to win this race, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen as Jimmy Spencer has climbed out of his race car and they're taking it off the track on a hook. So we'll with more racing from the Lowe's 150 after this.
He certainly has a fast car, Larry. There's no question about that. So far, we've seen him get out of shape a time or two, and you're right. You don't have to abuse him very much until you'll start falling back. But don't believe he's hurt him that much yet.
Yeah, we have seen him dirt track off corner number 4 a couple of times, but nevertheless, he is still up there in second position as the green flag comes out and racing resumes in the Lowe's 150. Down the backstretch, still Resendiz. There's Morrison at 19. Satch Worley in number 07. Now Junior Miller in the number 69 car is in this group of cars. Down the front stretch once again.
The caution, of course, helped to cool those tires back off, so he's okay if he doesn't start spinning them off the turns now. And we're talking about the car number 19 of Randy Morrison. Satch Worley now is able to keep his car a little bit lower. Here's a couple of cars running side by side.
That's Frank Fleming passing a slower car on the bottom of the racetrack as Frank tries to move up through the traffic. The winner of the 1987 race here in North Wilkesboro during the fall. Back up front, it's still Resendiz, Morrison, and Satch Worley. Randy Morrison, 3 years experience in the Modifieds, was a late model track champion at Tri-County Speedway in Hudson, North Carolina, and has a Busch Grand National ride lined up for 1989. We're talking about Randy Morrison, the driver of car number 19.
He attempted to qualify a Western Cup car a couple of weeks ago. I think it was in Dover, Delaware. Didn't quite make the field, but he is another of those drivers who's looking to move up in auto racing.
Well, he's to the inside here of Resendiz and looking for the opportunity to go into the lead, but has not found it yet. He seems to be able to close up on Resendiz in the corners, but Dave pulls away on the front stretch. But there you can see, oh, we have contact between the two, or something is broken on the Morrison car. They're hooked together.
Yes, they are. Now they finally get broken loose. You can see the sparks flying as they went into the turn. Of course, Satch Worley took over the lead during that little encounter.
So no caution as everybody is still running and in good shape, but quite A turn of events for Randy Morrison and Dave Rezendes. Now the caution comes out, but it's not because of that incident. It's because of the number 99 car driven by Johnny Johnson, who got high up in corner number 4 and brushed the wall.
I think he might have had an engine problem. It looks like there's smoke coming from that car, and he got it up out of the groove. I don't think he made contact with the wall, but it's possible that something is coming from the car. I think he did blow the engine on it, although he's still running. He's trying to get it down off the racetrack now.
Well, let's take a look again at this unusual situation that developed in corner number 2. Actually, it started as they came down the front stretch. We've been talking all race long about how Morrison is actually bumping and pushing on Rezendes, and they got hooked together right there.
Yes, they did. And in fact, I don't know what got down on the racetrack there that caused those sparks and the smoke, and they stayed locked together there momentarily. They're both trying to wiggle the cars, and finally they did get them broken apart.
But they lost a couple of positions, and then at the other end of the racetrack in turns number 3 and 4, the number 99 car of Johnny Johnson was experiencing some engine problems, sliding high onto the racetrack and brushing the wall. That was the reason for our third caution of the day. And Johnson has now made it to the pit area, but they are going to have to go onto the racetrack, the track crew, and clean up the oil and moisture drop from that Johnson car. We'll be right back. Time by, they'll be getting the green flag to restart this race. Let's take a look at who has dropped out of competition so far. Several have. Terry King in 96, Jimmy Spencer, of course, eliminated in that first lap crash. Johnny Johnson in 99, Randy Butler in number 5, and Buddy Black. All those cars have dropped out of competition.
And Bob, we have a report that Steve Jarvis in car number 98 or 88 might have blown an engine, and that was the reason for the spins here on the front straightaway that brought out this caution. But there he is out on the racetrack, so apparently he didn't blow the engine. He might have lost some oil.
Well, it could have been the 00 car of Roger Hill. I don't see it out there. Let's go down to Larry Newber, who has been checking the situation regarding Junior Miller, who's been in and out of the pits.
Well, Bob, we anticipate going green this time. The green flag is back out. We'll go back to the action. We'll try to keep your eyes on Junior Miller. He has a badly damaged left front tire. It's really got a groove in it. He's gotten into a wall or probably another competitor. They were going to stop, but by the time they figured out exactly what the problem was, they knew the race was going to go back to green, so they passed on it. Now that tire, among the 4 tires of 4 corners of the car, certainly has the less pressure on it, but Junior Miller's got a bad left front tire.
All right, so we'll continue to watch Junior Miller, see what happens with that car. Meanwhile, we're focusing in on the first 4 once again. And the leader of this race is Johnny Bryant in car number 45. Spalding is second, Rezendes is third, and now behind Rezendes is Morrison once again. So those 2 cars who fought for the lead in the early going and then got hooked together are running together again out there on the racetrack.
So we'll see what happens as they try to make their way past those 2 cars in front of them. They were able to pull away from those 2 cars when they were in front of them, Bob, but that's a little different from coming up trying to pass them. Bryant's car seems to be working very well, and of course he's very accustomed to running this North Wilkesboro Speedway. He likes this type of a racetrack. He likes a relatively flat track, although there is some banking here in North Wilkesboro, but the turns can get very slick, and he likes that kind of condition.
Well, one of Johnny's biggest wins came in the 1985 modified portion of the triple header in the fall at
Martinsville,
Virginia.
Spalding getting sideways, almost losing it as he came off of turn 4. Rezendes moves around him. He holds on to the 3rd place. Randy Morrison was not able to move around him, but Rezendes did move around him. As we watch Spalding as he goes into turn 3 to see if he has some sort of a problem.
Well, let's take a look at it once again.
You can see the car gets very high. The right rear just breaks loose as he comes out. Here's Rezendes in the red car getting by. And Randy Morrison gets down on the inside, but was not able to make the pass.
So Morrison is in 4th position now, as Spalding is 3rd. Rezendes has moved up to 2nd, and Johnny Bryant still holding on to the lead. Behind Morrison in the 19 car is Billy Middleton in car number 46. The 07 car of Satch Worley is on the move once again. You remember he came in for a tire change during that most recent caution period, and he has worked his way back up to 9th already. And you cannot count out Satch Worley in any modified race.
No, you can't. And that was perhaps a good move that he came in, even though we saw a little bit of tire smoke. I think that was tire smoke that came off the car. He's driving it very hard right now, but that could have been a good move, coming in and changing those tires, because he'd already lost the lead. He knew the car wasn't working as well as it was earlier. So now that he has the new tires on there, coming back up through the field.
And he's chasing the number 40 car driven by Frank Fleming. Now again, we saw some smoke come from that 07 car as Satch moves to the outside down the backstretch to try to pick up another spot on the number 40 of Frank Fleming. Now Fleming is in 8th position and Worley back in 9th. So let's see what Satch can do here as he heads for the high side of the racetrack, and he pulls alongside of Frank Fleming in the second turn, and they go down the backstretch. And indeed, Satch Worley is moving up nicely.
Those new tires are helping him to move up on the outside, get good traction up there, and boy, it doesn't take him long to move through that pack of traction.
Number 15 car there of Bobby Hutchins that Worley and now Frank Fleming is passing. He was in 6th at one position, but definitely is falling back. And now on the outside of that 15 car is the 05. That's driven by Lee Sherwood. Well, speaking of tires, let's go to the pit area once again, and Larry Newber for this report.
Well, Bob, what you're looking at is a tire that just came off of the right front of Gary Meyer's number 4 machine. That tire's got a lot of fatigue on it, and I would suggest, because nobody else is showing any tire problems, that this probably was more the result of a car improperly set up. Although they did say that Gary felt that he'd run over some debris on the racetrack, which could have put this tire off of balance and maybe caused such great wear. But that was a pretty badly abused tire.
Well, Larry, one thing that we did see when we were seeing the picture of that tire, you mentioned at the top of the show, Jerry did, I think, that most of the drivers were starting on a soft compound. And the softer the compound, the easier it is for the tire, once it's heated up, to pick up the rubber that gets in the groove. And we saw a lot of rubber that had been picked up off of the racetrack on that tire.
There's the leader, number 45, Johnny Bryant from Bassett, Virginia, as he passes one of the slower cars, Billy Agee, going another lap down to the leader. Dave Rezendes in 2nd position. Car 79 has fallen back considerably, and now Bryant has about a half a straightaway advantage on him. Meanwhile, here is the real battle. 3rd and 4th and 5th. That is the number 11 car of Rod Spalding. Behind him is Randy Morrison, and then Jay Hedgecock in 41.
Hedgecock, remember, made several pit stops during some of the early caution periods to make some adjustments on his car. It was reported that he thought he had him worked out, and apparently he has. He's moved into the top 5 now.
We have 12 cars that are on the lead lap. And a 3-way battle for 3rd position. And they're involved in some heavy traffic here as they go down the backstretch. That's Billy Agee in number 33 that the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place competitors will be passing here on the main straightaway.
And you can see the white car moving up behind them. That's Satch Worley. Boy, he is coming up on them in a hurry as they battle for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. Worley, in another lap or so, will be in there battling for those positions.
Boy, he has just come through the field like a hot knife through butter. Satch Worley in 07.
Using that high groove is working very well. He's run that groove since the drop of the green flag, especially between turn 1 and 2. That just seems to be the spot that works best for him. In turns 3 and 4, he stays a little bit lower on the racetrack, but he gets awfully good traction coming off the turn.
And Satch Worley's pit is jubilant watching him move up through the traffic, and indeed he is moving well. This is the same racetrack that you'll see tomorrow the Winston Cup cars compete on in the Holly Farms 400 that Bill Elliott has taken the pole for.
And of course that point battle in Winston Cup racing will continue, and we'll sort that all out tomorrow during 400 laps.
Oh, we have a car into the wall here on the main straightaway. The number 28 machine that was involved earlier here on the main stretch, Johnny Gregory, has once again spun, and he took a pretty solid knock into the wall, as a matter of fact, just beyond the start-finish line, and the top of that car has come undone.
Yes, it has. There's not a great deal of sheet metal on these modified cars, and about half of what he had has come loose. But we saw him moving around in the car. Apparently, he's okay, and he's about to come out of it. We can see him now about to climb out of the car.
Well, he hit the wall with a glancing blow, but did hit it pretty hard. And we can see some movement in the cockpit.
A tough break for Johnny Gregory. He was a victim of circumstances on the other spin when someone blew an engine or dropped some oil on the racetrack, and he was sitting on the outside of the track, or of the groove really, before when his car came to a stall. This time he moved down to the inside and hit the inside retaining wall, and it happened right in front of the leaders, Bob, as they came off of turn 4. It's already happened, and here comes the leader, Johnny Bryant, and he goes by. Of course, Johnny Gregory is down out of the way.
So Gregory has to get his car off the racetrack now, as we are under caution once again. The Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race this afternoon for you here on ESPN. Always has, always will.
In NASCAR Modified racing and in IndyCar racing, they use what's called rack and pinion steering. Now, this is what we're talking about here. This direct rod coming out of the steering column comes up to a pinion gear and down to a rack here in the front of the car. This rack has small teeth on it. As this pinion gear slides back and forth over these teeth, it runs the rack back and forth and turns the front tires. It's a very sensitive form of steering, but also very delicate. One least little bump could snap this rack or snap these tiny little tie rods here and tow the front wheels in or out. You can use it for Indy cars and modified because you don't do much bumping. Why? Well, there are no fenders here to rub.
No, it's indeed you rub wheels when you get close to somebody in NASCAR Modified racing. Well, there has been numerous pit stops made during this caution period. Let's check on what some of them were for. First of all, let's go to Larry, who's in the Satch Worley pit.
Oh, Bob, it was an adventuresome yellow flag down here. First, they came in to change what is known as, what the modified call, the bite in the car. That's the amount of weight or pressure that's applied to each of the individual corners. That was routine. They had planned on that. They had a car up in the air, and they realized there was something looked awry in that brand new right rear tire they put on a few laps ago. So Satch came around the next time, and sure enough, they had a bad blister on the right rear tire. Yellow flag gave them a break. They were able to get a change, but it pushes Satch all the way back to the end of this line. Well, Jerry was, as I described it, adventuresome down at my end during the yellow flag. How about yours?
Larry, we established at the beginning that Billy Middleton would not be making a pit stop to change tires. Now, he did make a pit stop during this yellow flag, but not to change tires, but to make an adjustment. The right rear tire has grown so much from the heat that the car has got a tremendous amount of stagger. The differential between the rear tires across that rear end, and the car is just very, very loose. Now, on the other hand, the current leader, Johnny Bryant, he qualified on soft tires, and he's going to try to make it all the way. They do not plan to make a tire change. However, they are scratching their heads a little bit after watching what Satch Worley did a minute ago when he changed tires, put fresh rubber on, and knifed his way back toward the front. They may have to rethink their strategy here as the laps wind down.
Coming down for green, this is lap number 93, and 32 of the 93 laps have been run under caution. Back to racing, though. The green flag flies, and Johnny Bryant gets a tremendous jump on everybody else and leads down the backstretch. In second position is Randy Morrison now, as the number 11 car of Rod Spaulding is in third position.
And running in the fourth position is Roger Hill. Dave Resendez runs in fifth place. There are 12 cars on the lead lap right now. Frank Fleming, who car number 40 about to be passed by Jay Hedgecock. They're battling for the sixth position.
And there you see them. The white car is Hedgecock, and the black car is the number 40 of Frank Fleming.
And also on the lead lap is car number 31, Don Smith, Junior Miller in car number 69, Bobby Hutchins, car number 15, Billy Middleton, and Satch Worley.
The 00 car, Roger Hill, a little bit out of shape, and that causes a big traffic jam behind him. Here comes Fleming around, and so does Jay Hedgecock. By the way, the engine builder on this number 40 car is Don Kowalski from Lynchburg, Virginia, in his first year at building modified engines. Here's a look at what happened. Contact.
Like, yes, they do make contact as they head off of the turn. And Frank Fleming goes up on the outside of the car 00 of Roger Hill.
Made contact with Resendiz there in the second corner, and it caused a big traffic jam behind him. There now, first and second, as Morrison has caught up to Johnny Bryant, who really streaked away at the drop of the green flag.
Morrison's car is very fast here today. He has shown it from the drop of the green flag. He was not able to pass the leader, who was Resendiz, earlier in the race.
Once again, Hedgecock in 41 and Fleming in number 40 do battle, and Hedgecock comes away with the position.
And that would be the 5th position that he just took over.
Following behind the 69 car of Junior Miller there. He's been in and out of the pits. And there's the 00 of Roger Hill, who obviously has dropped off the pace after running as high as 4th. Now Miller begins to challenge Frank Fleming in turn number 3. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead as Morrison in 19 has pulled to the inside of Johnny Bryant, but no, not this time.
But he's got to try to get the nose up there again as they come up the backstretch here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
The backstretch does run uphill, and the front stretch runs downhill. So it's a different set of circumstances as you go into turn 1 than it is when you go into turn number 3.
As they race for the lead, Jay Hedgecock, who was running in the 5th position, is in the pits.
And there he is, coming to a stop, and I don't know, but I think it may be terminal this time for Jay. It doesn't look good at all.
No, the pit crew is not rushing around to try to fix whatever the problem is, so it looks like he is out of it. Meanwhile, now Johnny Bryant has moved away by a couple of car lengths. Maybe Morrison just backed off to let his tires cool a little bit, because certainly he was punishing those tires when he was up there trying to take them a few moments ago.
Resendiz is back in 3rd, but about a quarter of a straightaway or a half a straightaway behind the number 19 car of Morrison. Johnny Bryant, the leader of the race. As we have now moved past the 100 lap mark, so we're getting down to the final 3rd of this race.
Neither of these drivers have made a pit stop. They're going to try to go all the way. Now, it should not be a problem as far as the fuel is concerned. We understand there's a clutch on the Jay Hedgecock car. That's what put him out of the race.
And they are wheeling the car behind the pit wall, so it's all over for Jay Hedgecock after a very gallant battle here this afternoon, having made numerous pit stops, but every time he got off, came in for a pit stop, he would move back through traffic, but not now as the race is over for him. Now the number 40 car of Frank Fleming, the 00 of Roger Hill, and the 07 car of Satch Worley, as he has appeared back in the race for things.
Well, he was running 12th just after the green flag flew, Bob, so he's come back up through the field once again. He has proven that he has one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He just had to come from the back too many times.
You're watching NASCAR Modified Racing in the Lowe's 150 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. It's a good one here in the Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race, especially for 2nd position. And it involves a couple of guys who got hooked together earlier in the race, but at that time, Resendiz was in the lead and Randy Morrison was in 2nd position. And now Morrison in 19 has 2nd position, and Resendiz is in 3rd. The lead continues to be held by the blue number 45, driven by Johnny Bryant.
And, of course, the car number 19 is Randy Morrison. The red car, number 79, is Dave Resendiz. Now, of those 3, Bob, Resendiz is the only one that has made a pit stop and has on pressure tires. That might be working to his advantage right now. That's how close they were running together a while ago when they got tangled up.
Actually sneaks up on the back bumper of that Morrison car and gives him a push now and then.
But he knows that kind of an encounter right now would kill either of their chances of winning the race.
Well, it certainly set them back early in the race, but it didn't kill them by any means, as both have been able to stay right up there in the top 5. They've neither dropped out of the top 5 all race long, and now are running in 2nd and 3rd.
Now, Johnny Bryant beginning to pull away a little bit again. Whether he had backed off a little bit just to cool his tires and allowed Morrison and Resendiz to catch up, don't know. It's hard to say what kind of strategy that's going on out there. We're less than 35 laps to go.
And we have a yellow, and we have a spin down in turn number 1. So another caution period comes out, our 6th of the afternoon. That involves the number 47, driven by John Redding from Huntington Station, New York. The yellow comes out on lap number 117, so we've got 33 more laps to go. The race back to the yellow. Johnny Bryant will maintain his lead, but we could have the makings of an exciting finish here, as both Morrison and Resendiz have shown they're able to stay right up there with Johnny Bryant, the leader. So we'll take another break, the 6th caution period of the afternoon, and be right back with more from North Wilkesboro. Bryant from Bassett, Virginia, has about a straightaway lead on second place car driven by Dave Resendiz. Bryant has just 7 more laps to go. This race will be his.
And it would be his first win here at North Wilkesboro if he can do that. He's one of the elder statesmen, you might say, of modified racing. He's been doing this for, I think, more than 30 years, Bob, and has been just a good, quiet competitor. He doesn't have a lot to say, but he's a tremendous race driver.
He's finished second here at North Wilkesboro a couple of times, but this will be his first win if he can run the next 6 laps. There once again, we see a group of cars battling for positions. Satch Worley in 07 leads them down. Spalding is in number 11, Fleming in 40, the 19 of Morrison, and Middleton in 46. These guys are on the same lap, and they're battling for position.
Well, Satch Worley had passed all of those cars with relative ease, but now that he's gotten out in front of them, they've come back in on him. Now, whether he used his tires up too much in coming up and passing them, I don't know, but they've been able to catch him back.
Less than 4 laps to go now for Johnny Bryant as we continue to watch this group of cars running nose to tail, led by the 07 car Worley. Now there's Fleming in number 40 moving to the inside of Spalding. He's trying to pick up that position, and as they come out of 4, Fleming does indeed have it.
Fleming, one of the top winners in modified racing at Bowman Gray State in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this year. In fact, I think he was the top winner there. He didn't win the championship, but Bill Smith won that championship. But he's coming along in the sport of auto racing. He's one of those drivers that wants to move up to Weston Cup racing. He's trying to get a Busch Grand National program going now.
We have modified racing for you next year, as we'll have at least 2 modified races from here in North Wilkesboro and possibly another one from Martinsville, Virginia. Now we see the white flag come out for Johnny Bryant. He is on his last lap around the 5/8 mile track here at North Wilkesboro. Still has a comfortable lead on Dave Resendiz in second position. Bryant moves that car into turn number 3 for the final time. Here he comes out of the corner, and Johnny Bryant wins the Lowe's 150 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Resendiz finishes in second position. But look at this. As they battle for position, Frank Fleming and Satch Worley get together, and 3 cars behind them spin.
And that was for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position as they were battling going into the or coming out of the 4th, going into turn 3 on the very last lap.
Well, other cars involved in that, the number 33 there, you can see Billy Agee from Ridgeway, Virginia. His car is stopped at the entrance to the pit area, and also involved was Gary Myers in car number 4. Let's take a look at what happened. This is the final lap now, as Worley and Fleming and Spalding and Morrison were going for position, and Middleton also.
Okay, they're coming off of turn 2 now, heading up the backstretch into turn 3 on the final lap, and Satch Worley in the white car. And here comes the car number 40 of Frank Fleming getting down on the inside. They touch, and around they go. Into the wall goes Fleming, and Satch Worley spinning around. Of course, cars behind them hitting their brakes and hitting each other, and more cars involved spinning around.
Meanwhile, Johnny Bryant in car number 45 brings his machine to victory lane here at North Wilkesboro as the winner of the Lowe's 150. We'll be right back. NASCAR Modified race, and our Winner's Circle interview is being brought to you by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. Here's Larry Newber.
And a very special Winner's Circle it's the first use of the brand new Winner's Circle on top of the infield press room here at the new revised North Wilkesboro Speedway. Johnny Bryant, you have raced in all the legendary modified races, but you never won one of these ESPN TV modified shows. Must be a good feeling.
Yeah, it feels real good after being denied for so long, but I tell you, the car works so beautiful all day that I've had confidence in it all the time. I believe most anybody could have drove it.
You finished here twice before. Did you think that the bug was going to bite badly again at the end and take you out?
Well, it seemed like that from when I took a lead about lap 62, lap 220 was forever. But the last 30 laps, I got interested in concentrating on lapping cars, and the check would come out before I knew it.
You know what, it left me the biggest impression as I walked around your car once we got up here in this elevated victory lane. The tire wear is excellent. You've got treads in your right front.
Well, I have, but I got a little tread, but I got it on all 4 tires. That's what counts. It didn't wear out one of them, and they all wore about the same, so the car set up about perfect like that.
Johnny Bryant finally winning here at North Wilkesboro.
And our congratulations, Johnny. Here are the top 10 finishers: Bryant, Resendiz, Miller, Morrison, and Spalding. Finishing 6 through 10, Middleton, Fleming, Smith, Worley, and Hutchins. The Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock live.
You have 3 or 4
coverage of the Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race. For Ned Jarrett,